All right, my man, state your name. Let them know you on Nicovelli TV.
Yes, sir. This is Eric King on Nicovelli TV. Proud to be here.
All right, man, I'm proud to have you, man. Now, looking at the attire, I can tell that you are a phenomenal Knicks fan.
Die
Head to
hard.
toe, die hard.
No, I listen. A lot of people at my job in transit, people around my way, my Knicks group, and all that. A lot of people call me the #1 psychotic Knicks fan.
Okay, I hear that.
Die hard to the fullest, brother.
Now, how long you been a Knicks fan, sir?
I've been a Knicks fan since Bernard King. I didn't start out as a Knicks fan as a little child. The first person I was a fan of was Dr. J. So after Dr. J, I started liking Kareem and Magic a little bit with the Lakers, but from Bernard King on, I became strictly diehard. So that was like from early high school on, I was strictly Knicks, and I became obsessed with the Knicks.
Okay. Now, when we talk about Knicks, you said Bernard King is your favorite player?
That's right, that's why I'm wearing his jersey here today.
All right. And now let's move up. Unless you can talk about Bernard King. I mean, what game fascinated you when we speak of Mr. King?
Mr. King, I mean, the 50-point games he had, the unstoppable spin moves he had, what might have been if he did not get hurt to be able to play with Patrick Ewing
I was about to ask you
a
that.
year later. Oh man, it's like a missed opportunity for the Knicks.
So you think it would have made a big difference if them two would have been able to play with one another?
Yes, I wish they had the technology back then of what they had today with fixing that type of injury. You probably would have stuck with them if the technology was back then. You know,
Okay.
they got more advanced with the surgery of fixing that type of injury. Because if we would have kept Bernard King, I'm almost sure we would have had Chip.
All right. Now, when we speak of players, right? You went back in the heyday.
Right.
What would you say is the difference between them type of players back then and the Knicks today?
Well, back then, we had a sort of like a no layup rule. We had toughness. We had more mental toughness. We had players who were willing to leave it all out on the floor. It was a different attitude towards the game. We also played with more fundamentals. So there was more boxing out. There was more rebounding. There was more going to the hole if the outside shot ain't working, not just keep hoisting up a shot. You know what I'm saying? It was more attention to detail. The hunger was more. You know, it was a different type energy, and that's when more defense was in the game, you know, compared to now.
Okay. And with a present coach like Thibodeau, do you think he could bring that type of game back into the Mecca when we speak of Madison Square Garden? Talk to Nick Ravelli. Talk to me,
Yes,
baby.
I believe Tom Thibodeau was in my top 5 choices. He wasn't my top choice, but he was a top 5 choice. He's a good coach. One adjustment he admitted to himself is overplaying players. He's great with defense. He's great as a coach paying attention to detail. He will be great for this franchise to change their identity. He comes with a resume that players will respect.
But the number one question us New Yorkers want to know, is he a workaholic? Is he going to run these players down to the ground?
I think now he won't, and I think he's addressed that. He addressed that same question when people had concerns about him coming in, and there was questions about what he did with some of his star players, and he addressed those issues. So I think it's going to be different. I think the third time is a charm.
Really?
Yes.
And are you happy with the fact that we got Mike Woodson, who, if you ask me, should have never had gotten fired? He was the only coach that took the New York Knicks to the postseason, I believe, since what, 2012, when we had Carmelo Anthony?
I totally agree with you. Mike Woodson should have never been fired. First of all, he had the 54-win season. If it wasn't for 5 older players going down hurt, we should have had a chip that year, which would have made it more worth the Carmelo Anthony trade, getting that chip, because it led to that 54-win season. When we lost Kurt Thomas, Rambis, Wallace, Kenyon Martin, I believe that was the same year Scott Meyer punched the fire extinguisher, right? I'm not sure.
Around that.
But we Jason Kidd ended up burned out. we had a bunch of players went down. So that was the only reason we didn't win that year. Because we had that, I mean, we were smashing everybody that year.
Okay.
But when you lose 5 major players, I don't care what team you are, you're not going to win the chip with 5 players going down.
Okay. Okay. Now, we all know when we speak of the Knicks, there's a vacancy in the point guard position.
Right.
We ain't have a bona fide point guard. Is it safe to say since Marbury?
Yes.
Mark Jackson?
Marbury, Mark Jackson, Kid was at the downside, so, but Kid did his thing. If a lot of players, like I said, didn't go down around him to where he ended up having to play more minutes, he wouldn't have been burned out. But, yeah, I say you're on point with that.
All right. So we would say between Mark Jackson and Marbury.
Marbury was the last star, real talented, get your own buckets type point guard.
Okay. So now, we all know what we need today concerning the point guard position, man.
Right.
Who's the guy? Who's the go-to guy for us to go to? Now, I know we hearing a whole lot where we speak of...
Disrespect, that's an interview going on?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Y'all speak about the Knicks?
Yeah.
That's right.
You know somebody up the block, man, a Knicks fan, they ain't win yet, man.
Oh, man, it happened,
It's coming, brother.
It's coming?
It's coming.
Bring me to the Knicks. This shake Knicks right here.
All right, baby.
Okay.
Yo, so...
All right.
excuse me to the viewers out there watching, you know,
Right.
Nickavelli TV popping.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever you can do and conduct an interview with people driving in mid-traffic, they know what's up. Knicks is popping. The world is waiting for the Knicks to get their shit together.
And he saw me as a billboard for the team, so he said, "Is that a Nick interview?"
He already know what it is, man. You gotta love it, man. You gotta love it, man. So, once again, we talk these point guards.
Yes.
Point guards, right?
I tell you who I like to see. I hope the Knicks move up and get Ball.
Chris Paul.
No, Ball. I hope the Knicks
Lamelo
move up
Ball.
to get Lamelo Ball. I hope they move up to get Lamelo Ball.
What you like about his game,
I
man?
love, first of all, I think the father is misunderstood because they say he's a loudmouth and all that, and sometimes he can be a little extra. But that's a father who was a marketing genius for his brand, his kids, and got them in places they wouldn't have been probably without the father.
Yeah, he's the Joe Jackson of basketball, man.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Don King about all that stuff.
Right.
He knows how to market himself. He's living the American dream, and America has a way of allowing a platform for that to happen. He took advantage of it. The work ethic of his kids is top notch. They want to be the best. They want to work hard. They want to improve all the time. They come to play. It's not just a marketing thing by the father and yet the kids don't try. All of them have that work ethic to want to play and try to dominate the game.
But can LaMelo Ball adjust the New York's bright lights, man?
Well,
Is he going? Is he pumping? Do he got heart, man? Because it's one thing when you talk about the Mecca, man, it'll make you or break you.
Well, I tell you one thing here. You see him asking to be here, which already shows he's not afraid of the spotlight. The whole family's not afraid of the spotlight.
No disrespect to Kevin Knox. Kevin Knox was talking big shit before he put on that Knicks uniform and was really displayed being, you know.
Well,
he said what he was going to do and how he can't wait till the season start. And listen, will the real Kevin Knox please stand the fuck up? Like, what's going on?
As far as Kevin Knox,
I hate to jump out the window like that.
I post in my Knick group, the Real and True Die Hard Knick fan group. Please join it for those not in it. I posted up about 25 legendary players who had bad first and second years. You had legends on that list. Kobe Bryant was one of them. Dirk Nowitzki was another one. Crazy big names who had awful, and I mean terrible first and second years, and they started to blossom. Everybody doesn't come out the gate right away. Some people are late bloomers, okay? He showed flashes of what he can be. He's long, he's lanky, he takes long strides. He can improve on his defense under Tibbs, and he can improve a little bit more on his outside shot.
He's rather quick, too, for his size.
And he's very quick. I'm not ready to give up on Knox because he had not the best first 2 years. Some players didn't start making a name in the league until the third and fourth year, and then they took off. Okay, one thing about New York fans, since we're starving for a championship since 1973, we're impatient. We became very impatient. Now, even when you have a new organization that takes over, they don't allow that organization to blossom. They still blame that organization for what the last organization right before them did. So there's no patience to allow growth. This is the first time in like 30-something years where we're actually building through the draft. Okay, we got Robinson, we got Knox, we got R.J. Barrett, we have an incoming draft person here. We had Frank when Phil Jackson was here. We stockpiled, 7 more draft picks all the way up to the year 2025 in the first round, and we got another 5 second-round picks. Okay, we stacked. Okay, we're doing things the right way now. We got a new coach. We got Woodson back. We got 2 other top-of-the-line name assistant coaches. We got new scouts. Don't blame these Knicks for all the losses between now to 1973. That's not fair to do.
Okay.
Knox, give him a little bit more time. I mean, he's in the 3rd year of a rookie contract. He had 2 rookie coaches. Okay, he's now under Tibbs. This is the next notch up. This is not Fixdale or Miller. This is Tibbs.
Okay.
Okay, your assistant coach is not a rookie coach, and Mike Woodson. Okay, Knox also has his coach, one of his coaches from his college is one of the assistant coaches here that worked with him on that level too, that brought the best out of him down there. It's more of a comfort zone for him. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So this is a totally different mentality.
All right. And Mitchell Robinson, when I bring up Mitchell Robinson, what do you like about his game? If you had to critique Mitchell Robinson's game, how would you go about doing that?
Mitchell Robinson is going to end up being one of the best singers of all time by the time it's said and done. Once he learns how to cut down on the fouls, he has everything else already. I've seen videos on him working on his dribbling, working on his outside shot to be more in one dimension. He's already a terror in the pick and roll. He rebounds. He's broke records already, rookie records for shot blocking. Okay, it's nothing but upside. Only reason he was undrafted because he didn't play that year of college ball and nobody really knew what he had. We had a steal in that draft. That was a steal.
Right.
So I feel he's going to be a legend.
Gonna be a legend.
He's going to be a legend when it's said and done. You got Tibbs behind him now. You got Woodson behind him now. He's getting more, the more time he plays and gets reps and they work on his footwork and on his defense, which Tibbs is the defensive coach. So if anybody can clean that situation up with the fouling, wouldn't that be Tibbs?
Okay, okay. Now, when we talk about bringing a winning culture back to basketball, I know you said you big on Lamelo Ball.
Right.
But you don't think CP3, I mean, some say he only got 3 years left in him. You could teach a lot in 3 years, man.
I've been part of this debate in my Facebook group for a while. Some people are against CP3 coming. They want to talk about the 2 years remaining on the contract, how his age, how much he's getting paid.
What, 85 mil if he was to come here?
It makes all the sense in the world to bring CP3 in. And I'm going to tell you my reasons why.
Winning culture?
Winning culture, he's a coach on the floor, basketball player. If you had him teaching Lamelo Ball his secrets, his trade, his craft, you get him coming. You also get other vets who will come here on veterans minimum to play too. Like for instance, having CP3 may bring Melo back in a reserve role, coming off the bench that teaches Randall, who he was already working with
So you saying
last offseason, but in a reduced role, not to come back here to start, no long-term contract, none of that. But at the same time, when CP3's contract is up in 2 years, that's around the time some of our rookies are coming out of their rookie contracts where they'll be looking for max deals, the same guys we're training to be stars that we're developing.
So you saying CP3 will be a much more effective mentor than what we had in Jared Jack.
Jerry Jack or Efred Payton that we got now, or whatever. You're talking a whole new different level with CP3. We still will have room to sign one max contract with CP3 coming. You gotta remember, after next season, we hoping to get one of the three, either Greek Freak, Kawhi Leonard, or